Thank you, Chair. To speak in support of this motion, we're really at a critical juncture with respect to our auto industry and so many other industries in this country. As we know, the Americans have launched unjustified tariffs on a variety of our sectors. I've heard from people in my riding, everything from the aluminum sector to the furniture manufacturing sector to the steel supply chain. One by one, these companies are suffering at an alarming rate. Some companies have even told me that for their American products, the products that they export to the U.S., they're now at the point where they need to consider opening up facilities inside the United States. We've heard the consequences very sharply here at Industry Committee when we had our emergency debate on the auto sector. And just to remind people at this committee and those watching at home, $14 billion is what the auto industry contributes to our GDP, 125,000 direct jobs, 8% of manufacturing jobs in Canada are in the auto sector. Every job at an automotive assembly plant supports 9 additional jobs, the highest external benefit multiplier of any sector in Canada. That is the severity of what we're facing here. We've seen GM, for instance, threaten 1,200 workers from their Ingersoll plant. We've seen GM invest $4 billion in the U.S., being forced to drive money there because of these unjustified tariffs. And the fact remains, we're supposed to get a deal by July 21st of this year, and yet that hasn't happened. We've also heard at this committee some other measures that we could have taken to support the auto sector. In fact, some auto executives have said there's one thing that the government could do right now to support the auto sector, and that is to remove the EV mandate. I asked some of the members of the auto team, Hugh Williams, for instance, directly about the EV mandates and about how it impacts our competitiveness. And his response to my question is, and I quote, "I would absolutely say the EV mandate makes us less competitive, and not just domestically. It makes us less attractive for investment." And how about Brian Kingston from the Canadian Vehicle Manufacturers Association? I asked him about what he thought about the pause and if it gave the industry the certainty that it requires. He says, and I quote, "A one-year pause doesn't change the fact that companies have to contract for credits out to 2035. They still have to make sure that they have the certainty they can still operate in this market. The pause hasn't provided any additional certainty." End quote. What about Flavio Volpe from the Automotive Parts Manufacturer Association? He says, and I quote, you may have heard me say from the beginning that the EV mandate was unachievable, unworkable, and not based in reality." So, Mr. Chair, we tried to put a motion forward to the House to get them to repeal the EV mandate immediately to support the sector. And since we weren't able to get consensus on this committee for that, at the very least, I'm hoping that this committee will agree unanimously that it's time to move this motion to the House so we can have this serious debate on the House of Commons floor to give Canadian workers in the auto sector and all sectors in this country the debate they deserve, the transparency and accountability they deserve, and the results that they deserve. Thank you, Mr. Chair.